As I'm looking at the structure, I can see that we have consistent high highs, consistent high lows. Notice I have a spike and a channel pattern. And that's a goal. I always have to identify a pattern. And also this 21 bar exponential moving average keeps projecting prices every single time. Now notice what happened in price action. At this point on, I see a break, move to a new extreme, but we form a double top. Now generally you want to see high that is higher than the last high inside the trend to consider this uptrend over. Because we have a break at a new extreme, I'm not also, almost new extreme, excuse me, I'm not also going long too prematurely. So the stock market is going to open in 2 minutes. This is my pre-market structure analysis that I have to do. The stock market opened around this area and we can see we have a bearish momentum to the downside. So traders are reacting to a prices gradient break, new extreme. We're reversing all the way back down. There was actually a nice failed second entry long, but it was too fast. It was right around the open. But you can see right now I have to find a brand new pattern, brand new downtrend. We have a small overshoot. We have a break, new extreme form. I'm just going to be paying attention what the prices will do now that we have a small break, new extreme. But there is a chance that when we have a stronger downtrend developing, so I will pay attention to that. All right, so bearish bias keeps continuing. So you can see I'm identifying any good channel I can find. And I can right now see that we have even this wider channel working lower. As I'm trading this downtrend, I need to respect the short-term correction. So we have this bullish uptrend working higher. We have a break, so we can get retest of this extreme following the trend line rule. But because the main bias is bearish, I'm looking for a possible lower high or double trap that would still trap longs and continue marking pushing lower. Because right now EMA keeps rejecting prices. We have bearish downtrend working lower, and you can see we have a nice channel working to the downside. Uptrend has a break, new extreme. This is how I monitor when it is okay to sell. We have a first break of this wider channel, and we have a push below EMA, which is right now confirming that we have a bearish bias. So as I see the two-legged pullback correction playing out and I see push below EMA, I'm expecting right now to get a lower high confirmation setup that will right now create new extreme for this downtrend. So let's see if we can get lower high confirmation setup. So far there was really no great setup I would really like. I was expecting lower high here. This was a great failed second entry long at the start, new high first entry long, second entry long failure. But it was a little bit too early. Also breakout pullback. It was right around the open. Alright traders, so I'm resuming the video as right now I took the lower high and you can see this was a quick spike. So we got filled instantly. I took it on engulfing because we ticked higher, instantly reverse back down. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tighten the stop loss because right now we made our scalp. Anything that happens right now is just a bonus. It's just a gravy. You guys can see we have a break, new extreme of this channel. But since prices are looking quite bearish, we may hit eventually the low of the day. So this is what I'm going to be banking on. But this was a lower high confirmation of the visual two-legged pullback, basically almost double trap. But we closed above EMA, so not really double trap. Also notice we had small little resistance here if I drag it like here. This was already quite tempting setup. And we have the first leg here and the second longer leg. So market likes to move in pairs of twos. Strong push below EMA, quick reversal down. We touched barely the EMA, big bearish bar. So this was a quick, easy scalp. And we can see if we can get a runner at this point on. All right, traders, so our runner just got hit at around 4-point mark. I was tempted to take 12 points once I was seeing price action all the way down here. But since I trusted the bias that we may head all the way down to the support, I decided to give it a little more room, trail it about this swing, and now trail it about this swing right here. And right now the short-term uptrend is in play, so I cannot go short as long as this uptrend is in play. I'm letting this correction play out, but eventually I would expect for prices to keep pushing lower because this is generally a pattern as a reversal once you see so many continuous lower highs and lower lows, because you would expect after 50% mark of this uptrend to see some reaction to push higher. And since that didn't happen and you basically push through the 50% mark and you strongly reverse down, there's a big chance the market may head all the way down to the low of the day key level. I see that the prices is strongly correcting and this is looking like a one big leg. Notice so many consecutive bullish bars. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to measure this leg, copy it, and I'm going to project where the second leg may go. And this is where I expect for prices to reach. If I get a nice break new high, visual two-legged pullback, I'm most likely not going to sell directly at the highs, but I would be looking for push below EMA, lower high, or failed second entry long. So we will see, but right now this is the two-legged pullback that I'm anticipating. I'm measuring this first move. We have a correction and awaiting second move. Now we may not measure it perfectly because we right now reach smaller new high, but this is something that I'm looking for to make sense of what the structure is doing. But you can see congestion, EMA in these bars, I cannot enter basically single setup, but the bias is down. I'm not looking to go long just yet. Uptrend created new extreme, break at a new high. Notice flat EMA, sideways structure, so we are in a trading range pattern. However, there was main overall bearish bias, which I'm still leaning more towards. So I expect for prices after new high was formed, push below EMA to still get some nice short high probability setup. Most likely felt second entry long because we are chopping so much the lower high may not be as reliable. We'll see how it forms though. Notice the signs from price action that the bulls are about to get trapped. We have a break new high, we have first leg, pullback, second leg, uptrend played out. Notice the resistance that was forming at these highs and we traded down into this trading range, and notice this downtrend needs to get new extreme. So my main bias remained bearish. We had a new high, first entry long, second entry long failure. I was expecting to get a failed second entry long below EMA, but it never formed, it pushed above. And notice this resistance kept holding again, which is indication that a lot of bulls are going to get trapped and sellers are holding this position. Combined with the overall bias and the trendline rule, we almost had new low, first entry short, second entry short. I was ready to take it because it looked like it's going to form a nice bearish bar, but it ended up forming bullish bar above EMA, and the follow-up bar is already way too big and a scalp was made. So this would have been a great setup had it formed with better single bar, but if it formed like this with the bullish bar, I can't really sell below bullish bar, especially if it's going quite sideways. But I consider this safe entry with the better bar, even though it seems like you're going quite stacked. No, the main bias still remains bearish. Uptrend played out, so it's just a matter of time before a nice setup is going to form and you're going to push lower. Alright traders, I'm resuming the video as we have downtrend with the break new extreme. We right now have push above EMA, we have a new low, first entry short, second entry short failure, which I'm not about to take because the single bar is really not good and it is a bearish bar, and also it quite feels like the bias is still a bit bearish because we still have room to these lows. For that reason, I'm not really looking to go long, even though I have a tiny little short and break new extreme. The main bias was bearish, so I'm not really interested in going long, especially if the single bar is bullish like this. Prices reached the overnight low as we identified quite early. We can see that we have a downtrend working lower. We have a confirmation here, but we have overshoot, which can lead to a strong break in opposite direction, strong momentum in opposite direction. And we have visual two-legged pullback. We have first leg, correction, second leg is the first leg, correction, second leg. So at this point on, the bullish momentum depleted. I see strong push below EMA. I was expecting to get a failed second entry long, but as you can see, we pushed above EMA. So at this point on, I cannot take it. But I'm still leaning more bearish because the bullish momentum depleted with the two-legged pullback. All right, traders, I'm resuming the video as I'm going to take a second entry short as a continuation of the failed second entry long. We'll see if we can get filled a little bit back on the limit order. The bar is quite big. I'm scaling down a little bit. We got fill, so I'm going to tighten my stop loss one tick above this single bar. I'm going to go for, actually I'm going to go for 6 tick. I'm going to go for 8 tick target profit. Market is quite slow. It's quite late. But we have a new high, first entry long, second entry long, breakout pullback pattern. And now we have new low, first entry short, second entry short, big bearish bar. Notice some rejection off of this support that acts as a resistance now. We close below EMA. So I'm risking this setup right here. I'm scaling down my number of contracts to only 3 because market has really slowed down. But I really like this setup here as a new high, first entry long, second entry long failure, which right now got confirmed on this new low, first entry short, second entry short right here. It doesn't look great so far. Just gonna mark this as our second trade for the day. Uptrend played out with the breaks, 2 legs to new extreme. Strong push below EMA, which indicated bearish momentum. We went a little bit sideways here. I was looking for failed second entry long, but we didn't form below EMA. It actually pushed above. So this was a little bit concerning. But now that I see confirmation of this failed second entry long as the second entry short with such a great signal bar, also breakout pullback pattern of this resistance area. It's not looking that great for us. Can the support be a little bit lower? But if I draw the support lower, I don't get confirmation here, so I really don't like drawing it too low. But it doesn't look that great here. And we got stopped out here, unfortunately. Really like this setup here, second entry short. That happens. I didn't really see any other setup other than that, so I really like the single bar how it ended. But you guys can see we got trapped here. So we're 1-to-1. I'm gonna wrap it up. I already pushed it. So this was my trading session today. But I would like to go back through the chart and through the setups market presented us. There really weren't that many setups, despite the fact that the market was quite easy to trade the first half of the day. It was very predictable, but the second half of the day, it definitely got a bit more stale. As you can see, I got trapped here taking this setup, but I really wasn't supposed to be taking setups this late. As you guys can see, you can never get too cocky, too overconfident. Once the market is stalling and it's getting too late, you definitely need to be a little bit more careful, and you don't want to be pushing it, because you can see I really wasn't supposed to be trading at that point. But let's go through the chart, because you had a break new extreme for the spike in the channel, and notice what happened. Prices pushed below EMA, it formed a lower high. This is where we reset the count, and we have first entry long, pullback, second entry long, and it is also a little breakout pullback pattern. By the way, I'm not looking for no longs because we just have a break and a new extreme, but we can use this line as a breakout pullback. It is below EMA, it is a failed second entry long. The market is reversing, so this would be a first high priority setup for the day, but this was right around the open, and also the setup was very fast, so you had to be really quick, but it fits the price action rules. Prices form multiple lower highs and lower lows. Notice how EMA keeps rejecting prices, it's pointing lower, and at this point on, once you see so many smaller channels having a break in new extremes, there is a chance there's going to be another wider channel, and this one got confirmed really nicely. Notice how nice it is fitting off of these lows. And this is very specific pattern. Once you see prices consistently creating breaks in new extremes, once you hit the 50% retracement level, a market is not reversing at all. In fact, you strongly push below EMA. This is where you have to start focusing on market reaching the low of the day. So this is what you're going to use. You're going to use this as a target for prices, and you're going to be looking for bearish bias. For that reason, even though I have a break here, new extreme, which is, you saw me taking this lower high, I was not really thinking about buying. We needed the correction because market needs to correct, and the way we identify correction is we're going to measure the first leg. We have a sideways movement in the second leg, so this indicated the depletion. At this point on, bias resumed bearish. Now we had additional bullish push with the break and a new high, so we have another uptrend with the break, new high, another two-legged pullback like this and like this. So the uptrend played out. I'm not looking for any wider pattern, because right now we're a small trading range that we traded down into, which means we're focusing more on prices continuing the direction that we traded down into according to price action rules. We have a new high and we have a lower high, but this lower high is quite neutral, doji-ish, still above EMA, so you would want to see a failed second entry long trapped. Everybody who's going to go long on a second entry long against the main trend can get trapped, but notice it pushed above EMA and it formed doji again. So we cannot really enter this. At this point, you can see resistance forming, confirming the bearish bias, bullish momentum played out, and the last chance is to get second entry short, which didn't really form with the great signal bar as well. So three great setups here, context-wise, but the way the behavior of the market happened here didn't really allow us to capitalize on either one of these setups. We created a new extreme, we reversed shortly, but notice right now we have a lot of sideways movement, so this is where you have to identify the trading range with the bearish bias. Remember, just like we talked about, the goal is for prices to reach the low of the day. You came from very highs, you keep extending the channels, so there's a bearish bias. We have overshoot, which leads, according to price action rules, to break of a channel or possible reversal, and here we can see reversal. EMA is not holding, and if you expect new high, which is a reasonable thing to expect, EMA is supposed to hold and you're supposed to be pushing higher. The fact that you instantly push below is indicating the reversal may happen, and you're combining the overshoot with the range highs that you want to sell high and the bearish bias. So you can see how you're using tools from price action to help you determine what are you supposed to be looking for here. So this is now where the situation is reversing. Uptrend will not get new high, but that is okay. You're selling high, the trend range is here, so a lot of people start to sell, main bias is bearish, and you have overshoot. But we have failed second entry long, but the signal bar was bullish and not touching quite close enough to exponential moving average. So no real great entry for us as well. And here we can see we have a new low, first entry short, second entry short failure, but we're not even thinking about reversing to the long side. We still need to hit the low of this trend range, and especially the low of the day. And the signal bar formed bad as well. It was a bearish bar. We have a small break new extreme, and notice here we have double trap. Why it is called double trap? Well, because everybody who's going short on a second entry short here, they're going short too early. Why? Because short and uptrend is in play. It is a bullish bar, so you cannot sell. These sellers are weak because they're shorting too early, they're jumping the gun too early. Only after there's a break new high, this is where we know it is okay to start selling. And all the bulls who are reversing the market too quickly are going to get trapped as well. So this is a nice setup, great signal bar. The reason why I skipped it when I was watching this in real time is because we got a little bit stacked. Notice the EMA is starting to flatten a little bit, but you can make a good case for this setup. We can see we finally reached the low of the day important key level. And you can see after you reached it, basically the price is reversed. So you can see how price action is working perfectly. And these important key levels, this is why you always have to identify them and you can work with them because there's a reason to price movement. We have uptrend working higher with the break, new extreme two-legged pullback. We had a very sharp push below EMA and we have a lower high confirmation of the second entry short. So this right here was a nice high probability setup. I was on my break at this point on, so I didn't get to watch market live. But when I see break new high, visual two-legged pullback and such a sharp push below EMA and EMA keeps holding, great signal bar, lower high confirmation setup. And other than that, I don't really see and don't really like any other setup. I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.